Yo, what's good with y'all, man? It's Sorbo Hoops, and welcome back to another video, man. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I know I was doing the top 10 series for each position and stuff like that. But to be honest with y'all, the file that I had for the top 10 shooting guards and point guards video got messed up. I do use an app on my phone to edit and record these videos, so I don't know, something got fucked up with those. But it's on to the next. Let's see if this video can save and if I can upload it. But in today's video, we got everything we learned in the first round of this year's playoffs. It's been a very exciting playoffs, and I feel like this year the teams and the league has just been more balanced than it's ever been before. And we're gonna talk about it, man. This video, like I said, is gonna be everything that happened in the first round and what we took from it, or at least what I took from it. And yeah, man, without wasting too much of your time, let's get into the video, man. Let's do this. All right, so boom, in the Lakers-Suns series, we learned that Andre Drummond really wasn't going to be as big of a factor for the Lakers as we thought he'd be. Now, he did contribute rebounding, and yes, that's his best strength by far, for sure. But he really provided like offensive and defensive liabilities to a point where he really couldn't play a lot of minutes in this series just because of how much of a negative he was for the Lakers. He kind of clogged the paint for LeBron on his post-ups and definitely was an awkward offensive fit with Anthony Davis. We learned that Montrezl Harrell was really a waste of a pickup to have for the Lakers in this playoff series, especially just because of his size and lack of defense. LeBron actually looked a lot more human in this series. Now, granted, Phoenix played really good defense and credit to them for that, but if you were watching the games, it just seemed like LeBron just seemed older. Now, it could be probably the ankle injury and just the time that he hadn't had off ever since they won the championship last season, but I don't know, the lift on his jump shots, the athleticism, how winded he would look in timeouts or after certain plays, the passive aggressiveness, the settling for jump shots, the defensive consistency. Everything just seemed a step slower for LeBron, and it could be the ankle injury and just the time he hadn't had off since he won the championship last season and just the scheduling of this year. But I don't know, it kind of just looked like Father Time was catching up to him, but let's see if he proves me wrong the next season. To some of us, this might not be new information, but honestly, Anthony Davis is probably one of the most injury-prone superstars in the league today, and I don't know if it's going to get any better for him in his future. Kyle Kuzma is extremely expendable, and you'll probably see him in a different jersey next season. Chris Paul is proving that he deserved to have his name mentioned in the MVP conversation this year. Although, like I said, he definitely shouldn't have won it. He's proven that out of all the top 5 point guards you want to bring up in today's league, he's the only one still in the playoffs. And he's shown that he is a very valuable asset for this Phoenix team on and off the court. Even in this series, despite his shoulder being hurt, he still was helping coach the young guys in the playoffs, helping prep them for this playoff mindset, being that he's been there before. Him and Jay Crowder has been pivotal veterans for this team, and they're really a key reason to why this team is making it as far as they're making it in the playoffs and why they made it past the reigning champs. Devin Booker, on the other hand, man, I don't even got much to say about the dude. He's just proven he is a superstar in this league. Dude's comparing him to Kobe. I don't know about all that, but shit, he is a bucket. Ja Morant and Dillon Brooks are going to be a scary-ass duo to deal with in this league's future. Not only has Ja Morant shown an ability to step up in clutch moments, but Dillon Brooks has shown to be a pretty solid 3-and-D player. Now, this could just be one series or some shit. It is both of their first series, but the fact that Ja Morant averaged 30 points and 8 assists and Dillon Brooks averaged 26 points in their first playoff series shows a lot about how bright their future is about to be. Not only speaking about that, but Donovan Mitchell in this series, as soon as he came back, he immediately turned Utah into a winning team, and they won the next 4 straight games with him averaging 28 points and 6 assists in that series. I think with this series that Luka just had against the Clippers officially puts him in like a top 10 to 15 players in the league right now. He was doing whatever he wanted with them, and not only that, he looked like the best player on the floor. He had a better postseason this year than he had against them last year, and to be honest, he still had to carry a heavy offensive load because Porzingis was complete dog shit in this series. He really was just not aggressive at all in the paint. He wasn't rebounding that well for them. He just was settling a lot for jump shots. He seemed very tentative. And the Clippers were doing whatever they wanted. It allowed them to go small ball so they can guard the perimeter better. They were just switching on every screen. I feel like they should have put Kawhi on Luka very sooner in that series, but it's whatever. And yeah, man, I feel like this series just solidified Luka being a superstar in today's league for sure. But as for Porzingis' future in this team, though, I don't know. After this series, I think we can all agree that Dame is probably questioning his loyalty to Portland at this point. Jokic, on the other hand, played like the MVP he was voted for. He deserved it this season and clearly showed it in this series. He averaged over like 30 and 10, and he was just creating offense, if not for his teammates, for his damn self off of post-up, because Nurkic and Kanter couldn't do a damn thing about it. This is Portland's 4th time in the past 5 years being exited in the first round, and we're probably going to experience a serious shakeup for Portland in this offseason, not going to lie. Well, I think it didn't take many of us long to realize that Jrue Holiday was just obviously a better pickup for the Bucks than Bledsoe was. Giannis, on the other hand, I feel like it's still the same player that won MVP back-to-back years. I feel like he hasn't improved on any of his weaknesses. And if anything, the team that's built around him is better suited to help his weaknesses against those teams. So it's like, honestly, any team that goes against the Bucks in this postseason is just going to have to build the wall and hope they have the defenders to stop him. And Miami had the best personnel for that. If anything that this series proved for certain as well is that Bam and Jimmy Butler cannot be your best 2 players on the team and expect them to bring to a championship. I feel like they need to do their best this offseason to bring in a star, because there were times that Jimmy Butler was just very passive in this series, was just struggling to score, and he was also trying to create offense for his teammates too often instead of being the star player of the team. So yeah, Miami's definitely going to just have to experience a huge shakeup this offseason. I mean, shit, with this series, I feel like everyone and their moms knew who was finna win this series, except probably Boston fans. But, like, the Nets pretty much did what they were supposed to do. I guess you could say Tatum was a bucket in the last, 3 games of the series. But, I mean, we knew the Nets wasn't the greatest defensive team. So, I mean, yeah, they did what they was supposed to do. And little did we know, this was the last series where we saw Kyrie and James Harden healthy and playing alongside each other. Well, looking at this series, I guess this was just a coming out party for Trae Young's first playoff series. I mean, the Knicks were one of the best defenses in the regular season, so I naturally assumed they would do a better job of slowing down Trae Young, but they really had no defenders that can guard him on the ball on the perimeter. So it really was just him penetrating the Knicks defense and just kicking it out to wide open shooters. I mean, he was just dancing on whoever stepped out there to guard him on that Knicks team. And it was just pass someone wide open. Gallinari, John Collins, Kevin Huerter, you name it. If it wasn't Clint Capella, they were on that 3-point line. And I know the Hawks' 3-point percentage as a team doesn't look that hot, sitting at 36%. But they shot a lot of threes, man. They was really baking the Knicks on that 3-point line. And on the other hand, for the Knicks offense, I mean, Derrick Rose was basically their best player. And Julius Randle definitely experienced a mean wake-up calling in this series when he was asked to be a primary scoring option for a playoff team, and he performed very poorly. RJ Barrett played very poorly, and Taj Gibson received minutes in this playoff series, but it was mainly just because he was a veteran with experience in the playoffs. And don't get me wrong, Gibson was very solid with the minutes he received for the Knicks, but if he's your starting center in a playoff series, I think there's some eyebrows to raise. And don't get me wrong, man, I'm from New York, you feel me? Shit, we was definitely rooting for them to win that series, but no one expected them to go out that bad. And Philly versus Washington, and unless you were a hardcore Washington fan, I don't really think anyone really had the Wizards beating Philly in this series. Philly, I mean, they were just the better team. As great as Beal and Westbrook are as a backcourt in the NBA, I mean, they just did not have the supporting pieces around them. That team is very horrible on defense as well. Philly has Embiid, who's an MVP candidate. I mean, yeah, it wasn't really expected of a different outcome from Washington. They were lucky they got one game in game 4, but yeah. Anyways, though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys like and subscribe if you enjoyed. It really helps a nigga out with the channel. And yeah, man, I'm out of here, bro. Sorbo Hoops, talking about some hoops, man. Take it easy, y'all.